Okay, rulers, settle down. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get singles for all your Force of Will and other trading card games, as well as these amazing patrons. Special thanks to guest lecturer member Vite Ramen. Thank you for your support. Class is in session.
Back.
Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after... Paul, stop. Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will to Office Hours, your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast featuring myself, DMO73, and I am joined, as always, by Mike Rance, who just got a raise today. Give him some Keurig flexes in the chat for getting a raise today.
I got a raise.
Keurig flexes.
I give this stream 7.8 out of 10. Too much water.
And Paul Reisman, who has 15 cases of root beer in his house. So,
Hello.
Shayla loves...
Welcome to the world of Pokemon. This is a Torchic. You should choose this one. It's the best one.
That's not Mudkip. Shut up.
You were close.
Okay. You almost had it.
You were close.
So, I do want to say before we get started, we're super glad to have you all here tonight. We're going to be talking about spoilers. We're going to be talking about the Wanderer official ban list update. We're going to be talking about all that stuff. But before we get started, again, I do want to say thank you all so much for being here. If you like what we do and want to consider supporting the channel already, there's a couple ways for you to do that. First off, you can go ahead and click that subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. It feeds the YouTube algorithm, which is always helpful. Or if you want to consider supporting us a little bit more financially and getting access to some perks, you can check that link down, or you can click the join button right down below the video and join us as a member. This gets you access to the emotes during GPs. It gets you access to the live streams. It gets you perks in our Discord server, as well as things like being able to have us doctor your decks for you, play games with us for the channel, even make your own content and get merch for the channel. So consider checking that out. It's like a Twitch subscription, but it's for YouTube. Still haven't figured out how to do gift join memberships yet, YouTube. Please work on that. But until then, we appreciate all that you do. You can also consider clicking the links in the description below to get to Odyssey Games, where you can still go pre-order a product for the 7th, which we're going to be talking about a lot here tonight. And you should also go sign up for the GP this weekend hosted by Carta Magica, the webcam GP. We're looking to try to get some good attendance there. And later tonight, we're actually going to be giving away a free entry into that event. If you aren't already signed up. Or I believe if you are signed up, it can turn into a refund of your entry fee to still be part of the tournament. So tune in for that later today. So I'm kind of quiet.
Speak
refuse.
Up, Jeremy.
I will bump my volume
louder,
up.
Jeremy.
I will bump
a
myself
little bit louder
up.
now. A little bit louder now.
Okay, stop.
A little bit.
Stop. Hopefully that fixes it a little bit. Josh, thank you so much. For letting me know what's going on there. Oh wait, you know what? Is it? Nope, it's the right microphone. Sometimes XSplit likes to pick up the wrong microphone, but I'm here. So, I got a lot of cards to talk about tonight. Well, half as many as last week, which frees us up to be able to talk about Wanderer. So let's go ahead and jump right in here with Asmodius's Enchantment. 1 black, 1 colorless. Put target Resonator from your opponent's graveyard into the field under your control. If this card was awakened, chosen target gains swiftness until end of turn, and the awakening is to rest or recover J/ruler you control. I mean, like, discard decks love this, right? Like, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it's very matchup dependent. I don't think it's going to find its way into a lot of main boards.
Sure.
I also think this is just like a sick Epic Stories card. Like, I love this card for Epic Stories.
Yeah,
Woo!
absolutely.
It's just so flavorful, and it's just so... I love... The last time we had something that could pull something from your opponent's graveyard was Puppeteer from...
Umer.
Yes.
The 3 costume.
Umer 2.
Yeah.
I heard Umer and I'm like, Wanderer. And
No.
No, but it's definitely like something that's super interesting, because we have the Umer, which is this on a body. With the Awakening, we had Puppeteer, which was the first one that we had that really did this, from New Valhalla, which was like 5 cost grab from any graveyard. So this thing, just saying your opponent's graveyard, makes it a little more linear. You can't really do much with it in terms of your own reanimation, but stealing your opponent's stuff is always nice.
We've also seen in the meta this kind of like toss back and forth between Dark Alice's Smile and a coming back to Scorn of Dark Alice.
I think this is going to make sure that
this makes me think
Smile's
that like
really big.
that this is like Scorn might see a lot more play in conjunction with this
Yeah.
because like the idea of like telling a Violet player on turn 1 I'm gonna steal your Baja and then turn 2 I'm gonna play your Baja is like it's not gonna work very often, but when it does work, you're gonna feel real good about it.
Oh yeah. It's called free lethal.
Especially since I don't believe Void hits the Violet player's own graveyard, so like Violet doesn't really have a way to mess with a scorned Bahamut. So like that's a thing. Like this card can certainly be like a sideboard card against Violet to be like, oh, you're gonna be slow. I'm gonna take the first Baja, then I'm gonna kill you. Whoops.
Or you just play 4 of it in your 60 card deck.
That's true. Also, as Asmodius.
That's kind of like where I'm thinking. This is probably just better in Asmodius overall, and I might see sideboard play in some other stuff.
Sure.
I could see it being a thing in like a Featsing Groups Ballista deck, so you still have the ability to rest your recovered ruler, and also Featsing can pay for the void cost on this. So you just get a 1-mana version of this in that Feath Groups Ballista deck in New Frontiers. Kind of sick. Kind of cute. You can do it in the same turn if it's on turn 2. Kind of nice.
Violet says, thanks for giving me a Dark Providence Aegis target, you fool. I mean, you're not wrong, but like, but like, then you still like use one of your things on your own Bahamut, and I still don't have to deal with it as a threat. So like, meh, okay. Moving right along, we have the first Asmodius card to really like link up with the fact that he's RFGing from his own deck a lot, which is Castle of Asmodius, 2 black J/Resonators you control, gain +2/+2. When this card in your deck is removed from the game by an ability of a ruler you control, so Asmodius, you may put it into the field. Like we're playing 4 of this in Asmodius, like easily, right?
This reminds me a lot of people that were playing Velsavarian Apparition in old like Yggdrasil 2.0 decks, which was kind of sick back in the day because that was like, you know, kind of like your fail save to make sure that you didn't get OTK'd. Your opponent didn't mill your entire deck because it would just create blockers as the game went on. This one definitely feels a little bit more like as you go through the deck and as you start milling through things, you're going to just get these things for free pluses.
Yeah, for free.
Yeah. And notice that if you use the God's Art on Asmodius' side, this will not come out. So just be aware of that.
Why?
Am I wrong? Like when he also removes stuff? Or is that just on his front side? Am I getting the two mixed up?
The God's Art is on the front side.
Yeah.
The God's Art is on his ruler side. So yeah, it would hit it. Yep.
Also, Dark Tree loves this card. You automatically play 4 of this in Dark Tree.
In Wanderer?
It's
yeah,
free
for sure.
800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually, it is. It's a replacement effect. So is that we'd have to get a ruling on that because if it's a replacement effect ruled as an ability of Dark Tree, then yes. Because it's a continuous ability of Dark Tree that creates a replacement effect. It's
still an ability, yeah. It should still be an ability.
It should still work. So very, very cool. Moving on, we have the first of our boons, the first of the supposedly 7 boons. Amadeus, the Holy Spear. Quick cast for 1 white. Remove all Resonator tokens from the game or cancel target God's Art. So I like this card a lot. I mean, the fact that we have all these rulers with God's Arts and that we have an answer to them is technically not will efficient in the sense that all of these rulers have God's Arts of cost 0, but the idea of being able to cancel them is still very, very good. And also just it. So like there was this problem with God's Arts in the old days, right? Of like God's Arts typically cost will, and we had so they cost will. And then Lorite was always cheaper than them and canceled them. So God's Arts felt bad. Like you had these like cool, big, flashy effects. And then Lorite was just like, no. I'm okay with that role being reversed. Like I'm okay with you having a cancel when I'm still going mana and card positive on you when you're answering it. Right? So I think this is a better approach to that idea. And then also having the versatility of being able to RFG token resonators. It's a pretty...
I also just really like the fact that this card just, you know, further invalidates the Alice Origin rulers who have God's Arts. Oops.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So sad.
I love this especially like when you swing in against Belial decks and you go in for lethal. You can literally just say stop your God's Art. You have to now spend a stone which feels really good. Like either lose a stone right now that you absolutely definitely have, or you're gonna lose.
Yeah, unless they
And I
have
think
unless
the
they have
fact that this
castle,
card
but
does
yeah.
that is amazing.
Or unless they have the like board wipe spell RFG, but yeah, that's a situational card at best versus like having this. It creates mnemonics. I do really also like that this is another wonderful little top deck answer to the Satan plays, especially when you consider the fact that you suddenly have Charlotte. Charlotte can just have one of these in the sideboard, and you're just like, oh, your opponent top decks. Heaven forbid we have some way to search Charlotte. She's a hero. Excalibur has to search for a hero spell.
You're not paying 1 mana for that, Jeremy. Don't lie to me.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it in that deck. It's essentially 4 copies of Magda. Like if I'm playing Excalibur, I'm playing 4 of that searcher spell. So I'm continuing to see like threats and things to play around the threats, and like how good is it an implication when we get to like the top tier, like most sophisticated lists? I don't know, but the fact that it exists is like great. I'm for it. I'm here. I'm about it. And this artwork is dope.
Yeah, it's a nice artwork.
Literally just like stabbing Satan in the face. Next up, we have our first support for an older ruler. I mean, Charlotte was technically. We have the Graveyard of Amadeus, 1 white demonic world. Enter, you gain 1,000 life multiplied by X, where X is the number of demonic worlds with different names you control. Woof. That's a lot.
That's a lot of life.
That's a lot of life. As someone who's been playing Wolfgang, there comes points in the later turns where you really just want to spend 1 for a demonic world just to like you're probably going to flip Wolfgang anyway. You've got some excess will, or you're like about to play a Raging Plains and it just feels weird and you're like there's nothing to permafrost. Oil Pond doesn't do anything right off the bat, and then you're like, yes, Graveyard, gain 3k. Great.
This thing doesn't really feel very demonic with all like the cross tombstones on them.
Yeah, no, I like this a lot. It feels like something that Wolfgang needs to be able to stabilize better. Because right now that man is just like pedal to the metal, all gas, hope to get there. Especially against like the more aggressive decks, like the decks that are like comboing off or slow times like that. Like he's playing some back and forth. He's playing a little bit slower, but anything that like puts the pressure on Wolfgang, his outs as of now is just like, well, I hope I can go faster than you. And giving him something like this, because what I've been seeing is that even against Violet, Wolfgang can very comfortably get to like 3 demonic worlds by like turn 2. Like very quickly. So then you imagine, yes, I'm at 7k life. And then I also have first layer in my graveyard or in my deck to be able to grab or stuff like that. It's like, okay, now this man's got some legs for the late game, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think this card literally says, Josh, that you survive a 5k swing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
wrong. I think the only problem with this card is that
great.
No, the only problem with this card is the fact that it just like kind of has the same problem as all the other demonic worlds, where it just loses to Pulsing Thunder. But that's just going to be a lot of decks anyway.
Yeah, that's going to be a heavy edition deck, whatever. But like, how much Olivia
also heavy
have we been seeing?
Deck, also heavy. Well, I mean, the Pulsing Thunders are going into the Featsing Moonshard decks anyway. So
they're not, but they're not anymore. But okay.
This might make them come back.
Please. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they can go into it, but also please look at top 8 lists. It has not been there. Moving on to Violet cards. We have Violet again. This is Violet, the Flame of Providence Distortion. A 3-cost 8/9 with Quick Cast and First Strike. This card gains Violet in addition to its other names. Enter, you may discard any number of cards, then draw that many number of cards. If you discarded 1 or more atoms this way, she gets 4+1/+1 counters. Discarded 2 or more atoms this way, she gains Swiftness, which feels weird. And then 3 or more atoms this way, you get to draw an extra card. The fact that she has Quick Cast makes the discard 2 feel real weird. because like you're probably quick cast, but like the fact that you can have swiftness the turn you play her if you need to go kind of to face is a nice little option for an alternative option for Violet decks, especially if, again, as we've kind of seen, with like Battle Comes to an End or other stuff that we've seen coming out, like Persona Mask or stuff like that, and Garion, like Violet needing to have other ways to close out games. I like this card a lot. I also like that it triggers your atoms, but like she herself doesn't really do much to your opponent's side of the board. She's more of just a like self refill or a setup threat as opposed to like a clear threat without atoms to back her up, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I think one of the big things about this card is that it definitely feels like it's like a lot built into one card, but at the same time it's like I don't think Violet needed this. It feels very expensive for Violet's current gameplay.
Sure.
If people try and move more towards like a mid-range kind of Violet deck, maybe I could see it, but at the same time it's like, why play mid-range Violet when you have a 1-mana 4K win the game card?
Yeah, it comes down to how much this current format threatens the current Violet strategy, right? If the current current Violet strategy is going to get threatened out by things like Carlina, Garion, Belial, like that kind of stuff, which is kind of what we are a little bit expecting, like Belial's ability to just tell Violet, like, okay, you're not really doing anything, makes me think that she tries to get to more of a grind, which is when you shift to that mid-range, which is when you shift to a card like this suddenly having relevancy. Paul, you've been playing Violet a lot more than me. What are your thoughts on this?
I think if turbulences go down, I think you just slot in like 1 or 2 copies of this, just to kind of get a round Battle Comes to an End. If you don't see your tiny Violet and you just need to make a big push or discard a bunch of stuff and you're looking for your Bahamut, this is a big, like, dump my hand, get a bunch of effects go off. I have a big Resonator. If I draw into the Bahamut, that's even better. So I can see its applications. 3 Will is not something Violet wants to go to very much right now. But I'm also going to ask the chat, because I know Babatunde is in the chat, and there's some other folks who are playing Violet in the chat as well. How many copies of this do you play, if any? Do you put them in the side? Do you put them in the main? For me, I maybe play 1 or 2.
Yeah,
I
think with current iterations of Violet, 2 would be where I would feel comfortable. Particularly because it's also another way to dump. Like it has that nice way of being able. It has the nice way of being able to dump to the grave to set up Baja without losing hand advantage, which is one of the things that we've seen. Not all the time. It is rare, but like the decks that can play through the turbulence take advantage of the fact that you're spending 4 cards to do something. And so the fact that this is a way for Violet to get atoms quickly to the grave, potentially as the game goes on, while still maintaining hand advantage, I think is pretty good. So, Brandon, 0 max.
0 max. I mean, you get the most value out of this card if you discard multiple Eternal Winds, multiple Everfrosts.
-1.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
-1 Violet equals 5 Turbulence.
Basically. You honestly might be able to play better cards than this.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Cool, though. Cool card, though.
Oh my god. The next card, though.
Drops that don't win the game.
The second boon, Tachyon, the Holy Atom, 2-cost atom that works just like a regular atom. You may copy target chant spell your opponent controls. You may choose new targets for the copy. Pretty dang neat. Being able to cancel a cancel. Being able to, although it doesn't really mess with Welser at all, which is like the thing that has been disrupting Violet the most anyway, so like meh. Being able to Battle Comes to an End if someone tries to Battle Comes to an End you, that's a play line as well. This is another one that it's like very meta dependent how much you go above 2, I think. Because again, the deck is so flooded for atoms right now anyway that it's just like, what atoms would you pull for this, and do you want to just play more atoms, I guess. So very, very cool, very, very different from what we've seen from Violet right now. my impression of it changes based on which direction this meta goes.
So here's the play.
Okay.
Your opponent puts some kind of recursion spell on the chase. You chase this card, targeting your angel makes you lose the game in the graveyard. Put it into the field, you lose the game. You can lose the game as Violet instead of just black-white decks. Easy game, easy life. Print it, ship it. I want to see somebody do it in the GP. I'll do it in the GP. I got nothing to lose.
So okay,
Yeah.
I changed my mind. If we lose 2 Turbulence because Girion's a threat, I think you just play 2 or 3 copies of this instead. And then when they play Battle Comes to an End on their turn, because they went first, you just coin into this and remove all their Girions.
Yeah.
Seems decent.
There you go. It's a good card.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's a good card.
This card's amazing. This is my favorite card of the Violet support so far.
Well,
3-drop Violet is, yeah.
The 2 cards.
I don't like it.
Next up we have Electo.
I don't like it anymore.
Next up we have the Electo, the Unstoppable Fury. We've already seen this card. It's the pre-release promo, or I think it's the buy box promo actually. So we're not really needing to talk about it. It's just cool alternate artwork. Cthulhu's. Woo.
Also, the card's just good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Next up we have a Voice from the Void. 1 blue quick cast with Remnant. Draw a card. Null. You may pay this card without paying its cost. So like sometimes you're just like, hey, draw 2 for like free. Especially considering again, you're looking at Beatrice, who's just like, hey, I have Null trigger, pay this for Null. Draw 2 cards at the end of your turn or something like that. After making a Null play. We still haven't seen we still, in my opinion, we haven't seen the big payoff for Null yet. It definitely feels more fleshed out as an archetype right now, but she feels very dependent on the support suites of the other rulers right now. So like we need to see more of what Null's endgame looks like before I think we say more about it. At least in a competitive sense. At a casual sense, this is gonna be a blast. Like I can't wait to like play Null and just play with no hand and like do some silly stuff. Especially with Electo. Like instant speed discard is pretty crazy. And Electo lets you do that. So like I'm for it.
Look, odd semi-hot take. I kind of like this card in like really aggressive Violet decks too. You're discarding your hand for Turbulence a lot of the time. Basically, just turn this into, toss it into the grave, remove it, draw into your Baja, play the Baja, easy game, easy life.
How did we toss this into the grave?
Violet can discard cards.
Oh, that's true. Violet herself can just discard them. I was just like, Turbulence only discards atoms? That's why I was like, But no, you're not wrong. Just
okay, with this.
Just even more draw power for Violet. Just even more draw power for Violet, potentially. Moving on, we've got Brad. If you have a choice, always be Rad. Brad, the Masked Mage, 2 green, 6/6 with an enter of put a card with Seal from your graveyard into your hand. Pay 1 green and tap. Return target spell to its owner's hand. When this card is put into a graveyard from the field, put it on the bottom of its owner's deck. So can't ever die, potentially. And then you have the Welser Bounce repeatable on a body. That can potentially also get you a Seal card for like number 13 that you've already used, or a Brad spell that you've used earlier if you're playing Brad. I like it. We can't just be only talking about competitive implications during this time, buddy. I enjoy playing Brad at local,
but also
it's fun.
Okay, Jeremy. But anyway, Welser Rance, this card could walk. Just gonna throw that out there.
Does it walk though? Does it even crawl?
It's a fun card. It's kind of neat.
It's a Brad card.
It's a Brad card. It's you know what I want to do with this card. I want to play it in Wander and just kind of like make a deck that like tries to get this thing out as soon as possible. It's a 2-cost human, so you can Einherjar summon back out from the grave, which is kind of neat. I kind of like that, but at the same time,
there's a lot of discussion about this card as being, what I've seen is the discussions that I've seen around this card comes down to a lot of what Priscia box evolves into in this next meta. which is,
yeah, I can see that.
Does Priscia Box truly become Priscia Box, where Priscia is more of the utility card as opposed to the win con? Which I
or
think
does it become Brad Box starring Sandra Bullock?
Or so the idea of like it only takes two setups, and then suddenly Priscia can go grab you this card, which can then potentially get you a number 13 back that you've used earlier in the game, and then sets up so now you have a body and this cancel. There's this like repeatable kind of answer, and as we've seen before, activate abilities are pretty dang good. So we'll have to see exactly what happens there. Again, there's a big dependence when looking at all these cards in terms of what does the meta shift to? What does the deck need? What do decks that we have currently need to shift to become when put into the same ring with the Fallen Angels? If Priscia Box truly needs to shift itself to being a utility deck versus just like a combo out Priscia list, which I think it will, then this card suddenly becomes a lot better, right? If Violet needs to slow down to be able to be more of a grind to be able to deal with Belial, then suddenly the Violet becomes a little bit better, right? Like there's little intricacies that come with what do decks have to become to now suddenly deal with these new rulers. And we still have a lot to see. So those are my thoughts. Why not just get Welser from your Priscia? Because 1, it costs 3, and 2, this is repeatable. So like, and also gets you a card back, from, like a number 13 back, which seems pretty damn good. I'm just saying.
I think this card is a meme, but a fun meme and an interesting meme.
Cedo Mask.
Yeah, also gets you a Black Witch back, which
Cedo
is a little bit nuts. So like, there's some things that get you back. Like,
oh, that's kind of neat, actually. I do like that idea.
Next,
I forgot about that card. I read this card and I started reading. Put a target number 13 from your graveyard.
Yeah, but it also
hand.
grabs Black Witch. It can grab Pointy Hat Witch. It can grab all kinds of stuff.
Fat Witch. Yes.
Feasting. It grabs Feasting from the grave because, as we see in this third card, Pointy Hat Witch is actually just Feasting again. The third boon, Persona, Magic Mask. 1 cost, quick cast, cancel target spell with total cost 3 or more, and it's seal 10, so bringing it in as a Brad spell. Then recover all magic stones you control. That text is so irrelevant because if Brad ever gets to seal 10, the man's never going to run out of mana and you're just dead because all his cards are incredibly efficient for what they're doing at that sealed level. However, a 1 cost cancel something that's 3 or more, I like that.
It's not good, but we'll talk about it.
Go on.
I want you to list every card that costs 3 or more that you're
everything
going to
everything that Carlina is currently playing. Done. End of discussion. Okay, move on. Mike's muted for the rest of the night. Paul?
All right, keep going.
I was gonna say this. I think you side this for Carlina matchups if you're running green.
Yeah.
Because if you have this in your opening hand and they say battle comes to an end, you cancel it. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, that's an efficient use of my Energize.
I do really like the fact that in our chat right now, Logan and Brandon are very clearly fighting about the Brad card, and I'm here for it.
I think that means we win.
Yeah, exactly. Go do your things. Have different opinions. Mwahaha. It means my decks at my next GP look different. Next up, Darkness. We have the fourth boon, Last Regrets Black Tears. Choose 1 for 1 black, destroy target Darkness J ruler. Players cannot chase this card or apply the fallen abilities of target Resonator you control until end of turn. We haven't seen many Resonators with fallen as of yet that I can remember. Brandon, it says for the turn her 4 drops can't be canceled. That's correct. But her 3 drops can certainly be canceled, even with her God's Art. I mean, battle comes to an end. Brandon is correct. I can't mute you in chat. You're not wrong, Mike. You're also not muted. I haven't done anything to you.
Oh, I know. I'm here for the show, man. It's okay.
So
I'm an entertainer.
This card feels very strange to me, particularly because like the second mode is the mode that I'm more curious about. And the second mode's the mode that I'm more curious about, and I haven't seen enough Fallen Resonators yet to like make me go, oh yes, I really want to turn on Fallen right now. I know there is the one that like every time it swings, your opponent has to discard a card and banish a Resonator, so like that seems pretty good. But like then your creature has to like the fact that this isn't quick cast, so I can't like move
The
to
fact
attack
that you have to pay a mana for it,
as opposed to just resolving a God's Art. Like it feels it feels very situational.
those
And
cost
the other
zero,
thing too,
man.
the other thing is like I don't really like I'm not gonna use this on my opponent's Fallen Angels because like that just fuels them towards Satan. Right? So like that feels kind of weird, and like Wolfgang actively wants you to kill him after he's flipped so he can start getting demonic worlds again. So it feels a little strange. Now if this had just said like destroy target J ruler, players can't chase to this as a 1-cost non-quick cast card, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Got it. 100% understand. The fact that it specifically says darkness confuses me. Lore-wise, it makes sense because Virgil's over here trying to kill all the fallen angels. Design-wise, for what it's trying to do and what the fallen angels want to have happen to them, I don't understand.
Maybe you play this in your own fallen angel list
To kill your
own J rulers,
Dante.
and your opponent can interact with it, and then you just do the replacement. I don't know.
I mean, that's not terrible idea.
I mean, I think this card has more long-term implications for the game. Like just the idea of like in a meta situation in the Wanderer format, if there are people who are playing like a very prominent darkness ruler, you could just kill it.
Mario Cruz, yes.
one.
Alice Origins is currently legal in New Frontiers. Yes.
Until November.
Yeah.
I could do math.
Next up,
I think it's a solid card. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's like amazing. Yeah.
It's a card.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. It is printed.
Yes, it is
Great.
a card. Like I said, though, like if there's a sudden resonator that like I really want to see that has like a really, really ridiculously awesome fallen effect, so like I want to be able to like turn that on really
Fallen, you win the
effectively,
game.
or something like that, then like heck yeah, clearly that card becomes significantly better. But like as it stands right now, it's just not there. Then we have Black Rain, 1 black, 1 colorless. As an additional cost to play this card, discard X cards. Your opponent banishes X resonators. Cool little null turn, like a cool little null enabler.
Yeah.
I don't really see anything other than that on this card.
Yeah, this card
Gets around
feels
stuff
very-
with barrier, right? If it said your opponent banishes entities, I'd be immediately like, yep, cool, great. But it doesn't. It just says resonators.
Beat opposing Satan. Done.
Yeah.
Except you're gonna have no cards in hand, so this is a terrible top deck.
Wait.
Unless
Unless you're
you
Beatrice,
have
because
the draw
Beatrice,
spell in your graveyard.
also Beatrice, because Beatrice gets to draw that second card, right?
Ooh.
So like, there's some worlds here. It's a neat card. It's a normal. I don't think we could expect much more. Next up, we have Tisiphany, the Avenging Fury. 2 black with Pierce. As this card enters the field, choose a number equal to 3,000 or less that is a multiple of 100. The attack and defense of this card becomes the chosen number. Enter. This card deals damage to you equal to its attack. So this means we have to either punish Necronomicon barriers, which feels bad. We have to have an opponent who's playing a Stemma so that we can't lose the game even at 0 life, which also feels very strange. And then we play Belial and we wait and we use one of our God's Arts preemptively, which if you're playing heavy stone-based Belial, maybe you're okay with that. Overall, pretty cool card. I like it. It's a cool design. It's a neat approach.
I think this is my favorite bad card of the set, and I'm very excited to play it in every deck I could possibly fit it into. I'm going to play it in all of my Almerius Crucible Esta decks, because it's basically just free! Because you start
true.
with 7,000
You just pay
life.
the 7,000. Yep,
It's
you're not right. You're
Big.
Not wrong.
It's
Brandon, you're right. I
terrible.
should have said I should have said Black Rain should have said non-Magic Stone entities, so that you can't force your.
No,
opponent to
just
sack
entities.
stones.
It
Just-
also makes your opponent
Right.
sack magic stones.
Ugh, gross.
Hook who?
I like this card a lot. I think it's a cool design. I think it's a cool approach. It has multiple different ways that you could play it, both in Fallen Angels and without Fallen Angels and against Fallen Angels. Also the fact of like with the Lumia, you can just like hurt yourself and then like play Lumia and recover that life back.
Oh, Brandon, I
Um,
love you.
Intimidate before recover. Yep. Also intimidate before
that's
recovery.
so
Yep, that's a play
hot.
line too. And intimidates also everywhere. Also,
I love
Dark
it.
Tree really likes this. Just like
Yep.
Mhm.
3,000. Flood my deck.
Mill
right?
30 cards.
Mill 30.
Mill
cards.
half my deck.
Hit all 4 of the
Right.
Asmodius castles. Put them into play.
Put all of the operations into play. You have a board of 12/12s. GG. Board
Yeah,
of 12/12s
wow.
and a 3K.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, this is so hot.
Yeah, this is very, very cool. I like it a lot.
I love. It's such a good bad card. I'm very excited.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Invisible Terror. It's 3 cost 7/7 with Null at the end of turn. So either player's turn. If this card is in your graveyard, put it into the field rested.
I didn't see that end of turn at first. I thought it just said your turn.
People can't read. You people
I
can't
can't
read.
read.
It
Dude,
literally
I
says
am-
at the end of turn. If it didn't say at the end of turn instead of if it said your turn instead, this card's unplayable garbage. The fact that this card says at end of turn means that this is actually potentially like a beater in the Null deck. Like 700 for free is
I also love how it's
repeatable.
literally. Have we seen like just straight up Cthulhu on the Cthulhu cards before?
Yes.
Like this thing
Nameless
is literally
Mist.
just like
This is actually Cthulhu.
Nameless Mist.
it's not a creature. It's fine. Anyway,
It's fair. It's fair.
yeah, this thing is literally just Cthulhu himself as a creature. This is the first time I've really gotten to like see his artwork on a body.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool to me. I like that. Also, this card's just cute, man. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. Like, it's Alice Origins at 3 and Ghost in the Shell won't be legal in November. Mario, that is correct. I can't read either. It's okay. That's true. There are situations where I can't read. This is not one of them. I can't
Brandon saying
read
this
it
card's still
disagreeing.
unplayable garbage? Yes. But it's cute.
It's probably because the Null deck, in terms of competitive, is probably currently not playable as we know it. At least with what
Yes.
we've seen. That's why.
Yeah.
Remember how Carlina Gods Art protected 4 or more? Yeah, it still protects 4 or more. It's
4.
4 or higher, not all spells. I said that earlier today.
Currently, the Transformed is better than this card.
Yo.
Woof.
That's not incorrect, though.
Yeah. So
That's
that-
my opinion.
So I think
I was looking for all the fallen resonators in the set so far. That's how much I care about this card.
that's fair. That's fair. That does put us at the end of our spoilers for tonight as Mike vanishes from the chat. And I get split
early,
in,
man.
and I get
Too
split in
early.
half on stream. Overall, my feelings on this entire set
There
of
go dying again.
Yep, there you go, tying again. My feeling on this entire set of spoilers is that I have to think of like the whole spectrum, right? Like there's some meta dependent competitive cards that I think are going to have some influence. There are some cards that I think that and then there are a lot
Jeremy,
of
I
cards.
just saw what happened to your screen.
Yeah, I know. I get split in half every time you leave. There are some straight up just good cards in here. Just overall, there are some very good cards for main boards and sideboards for a couple of the rulers. There are some cards in here that are very, in terms of the competitive element, very meta dependent in terms of what we need to see, how the Fallen Angels are going to influence the tempo of the game, in terms of the competitive environment to see whether they're good or not. And then competitively good. And then there's just a bunch of cards that are going to be like fun to play, like at the casual level. Both in the casual environment for New Frontiers and in the Wanderer environment. So like for me, this is a 10 out of 10, right? In terms of general force of will, how much I enjoyed these spoilers, solid 7.5 out of 10 for like this week of spoilers. in the whole gambit of Force of Will enjoyment, 7.5 out of 10.
Water.
What'd you say?
Too much water.
Yeah. Not enough water. We only got 2.
Mario, how long will Saga Cluster be playable for? It will be playable until November of 2022. It will stay around, yeah.
Rotation happens every November.
Correct.
At the moment.
Correct. How about you, Mike? I'd be interested before we go into the next topic of like, think about the entirety of Force of Will enjoyment. So not just competitive, not just New Frontiers, not just whatever. The entirety of Force of Will enjoyment. How would you rate this week's set of spoilers out of 10?
Honestly, this week's set was really good. I really like the fact that like we're seeing cards, like obviously stuff like Violet's a little bit shoehorned into Violet. A couple of like the cards are a little bit shoehorned into their respective decks, but at the same time we're getting cards that are just like really, really interesting. Like Electo is just one of the most solid cards I think I've ever seen in this game's history in terms of 1-drops. In terms of like we're getting good blue cards again. Like Cheshire Cat's rolling in her grave right now, except the grave is now being exhumed because we get Wanderer back, which is going to segue into our next section.
We also have Kiki, so like, kind of have a Cheshire Cat a little bit.
A little bit, not quite the level. If Kiki was Cheshire Cat's level, then Celeste would be a lot better. But anyway,
sure,
that's besides the point. It's fine. It's whatever. But we're talking good blue cards. We're talking about Dolly and Dolly alone. You're welcome, Paul. Anyway,
so set out of 10. Score out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay, cool.
These are cards that I see playing very much into a lot of very offbeat Wanderer decks that I do want to put together. I feel like there's going to be something here that I can just kind of capitalize on and find something unique about. It's not going to be something that's going to be like competitively viable, but I'm going to play it against somebody in my locals, and they're going to be like, huh, that's really neat. And honestly, that's kind of cool. Hang on, sorry. Excuse me for a moment.
Get the neat card.
I'm just going to toss this onto the table. Neat.
Mario, did they not release any starter decks for Saga Cluster? They did not. But we hope they release that. They should release starter decks for the next cluster. We've never gone a whole like 2 clusters back to back without starter decks, so it's pretty safe bet that we're gonna have starters next cluster. Especially with the rise of 2 things, especially 1 with the general progression of the increase of the player base, and 2 the fact that a major distributor in the United States just came back into picking up Force of Will as a distributor. So like sales are clearly increasing, so there's no reason to not make it easier for players to get in. Brandon, what is this non-competitive you speak of? People who want to play more than just one deck over and over and over again and enjoy jank and have a good time. They want to use the entire they want to use the entire collection rather than sending Jeremy Franklin a list of 55 cards a week before a GP because that's all they want to play. That's what non-competitive means. Anyway, Paul.
I've never heard of those before. What are you talking about, Jeremy?
A set in the entirety. So taking this week's set of spoilers in the entirety of Force of Will enjoyment, score out of 10. What was your set this week for? I like this idea. We're gonna do this.
I would say, in terms of art, this is a home run.
Okay.
I do enjoy the art of this game. I do like that we're actually getting like Cthulhu. Although, like, no one's like, oh yeah, this is Cthulhu. Like,
just
like no one's in the set like, oh hey, that is Cthulhu. Like, no. No one's doing that, but we have them. Whatever.
The creation of America's favorite racist. Continuing anyway.
I only throw shade at the Bremont's. The chat's going at me hard for going after Bremont. I only go after Bremont because I love him so much, and he knows it. He's fine.
It's okay. When you're that good of friends, you can clap their cheeks and they're fine with it. In terms of the
Paul.
flavor,
yeah.
Oof.
6.9 out of 10, Mike.
Too sexy.
I like that we just in the general. I just really like the generic support we get in this. So the things like the 1-drop white that like removes all tokens, the cancel a 3-dropper higher, the freaking 2-drop that just gets bigger. it's a little too generic for me personally, but I think it's a cool idea, right?
Yeah.
So like or the one drop blue that allows you to just draw two. Like this stuff is like really solid. Just generic stuff that
Yeah.
as we head into that was a hell of a sentence.
Wait, Lovecraft is not America's favorite racist? I feel like I've been lied to.
So, continue. You got to give me a score out of 10.
Oh my god.
I
mean, he's not wrong. It's fine.
He's not wrong.
He's allowed to. It's okay. It's okay. That's how Bremont plays Force of Will. It's fine. That's not all there is. That's not how.
We also gained the flight to Japan off of that same sentiment.
Yeah, it's fine.
You know.
That's fine. That's just not the only way to play Force of Will. It's okay. Paul, I need a score out of 10.
7.7 out of 10. Not enough water.
7.7 out of 10. Not enough water. That's fair.
That's way sexier than 6.9.
This was an okay week.
Yeah. Overall,
nothing blew me. Excuse me. Wow. There was not stuff that blew me out of water with
there was no
Inferno.
There was no Shayla support,
like,
and there was no Olivia support. So Paul's just upset.
Yep. Paul's just upset.
Well, no Olivia support yet.
There's probably going to be Olivia support. We've seen Brad. We've seen Violet. I imagine we get an Olivia resonator. We've already know there's a Wolfgang resonator as well. I imagine we see probably a Varia resonator or two. Yeah, a local man takes 2 girls to Magic Academy and wins a free flight to Japan. That's a good one. So let's talk about our last topic here for tonight. This took a lot longer than I thought. We need to talk about this. Let me go ahead and do a screen grab of it. Smart selection. Here we go. Grab it here. It's gonna pop up real tiny on my screen for some reason. This week we got the announcement that Wanderer format is going to start being more officially supported in the game, which is great. Currently, it's operating off of this new Wanderer ban list. They announced that they have been watching things and they've been talking with people, presumably the EU Wanderer Committee, and they've decided to say that they're going to be much more proactive in terms of the bannings and things in the Wanderer format, and that started with this whole new change to the ban list. Speaking to the Wanderer ban list committee suddenly becoming official. They also said that they were going to be offering the potential for competitive Wanderer events coming back, which I think people are very excited about, and more Wanderer promos being released. Overall, this is just a great announcement, right? I think that there is still a lot of there's still work to be done in the Wanderer environment, but what this tells us is that it's now on their radar in a big way. So there's a lot more to be developed off of this. Yeah, so I do want to say you can check out the list yourself. They go into kind of the explanations here. We're not going to go through each individual thing. There is just some things to note here that I think is important for talking about Eternal formats, in that, as we talked about before, there's more than one way to enjoy Force of Will. So I'll speak to this, and I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts. Wanderer is, in my opinion, one of the two ways to approach legacy formatting, and I think that the two, in terms of I say this in the sense of the two are very different in what your goal of the legacy format is, and both very important. So Wanderer is just the ability to play constructed as you are used to with all the cards. And so in my mind, when you take into consideration, like any eternal Japanese card game, power evolution and power creep, especially over 7 years, is going to influence things. Not in a way that you might not be initially happy about, if you're wanting to play an Eternal format for nostalgia's sake. And so I think that this is important, especially because they've talked about wanting to make it an Eternal format for a competitive environment. This is cool. If you want to get into the competitive environment of playing an Eternal, that's a cool mindset to go into play Wanderer, and I encourage you to do that if that's what you want to do. There's also, just as with New Frontiers competitive, if your locals are just wanting to be goofy and mess around and stuff like that, be communicative about it and still explore Wanderer. That being said, if you are wanting to play like an Eternal format because there's a ruler that you really, really enjoy, play Genesis. Especially if it's an older ruler. And the reason why I would say that is because you guys are just going crazy in the chat right now. The reason why I say play Genesis is designed to scratch the nostalgia itch because of the limitations of the deck building. It naturally creates an environment where rulers throughout Force of Will's history can all compete with each other on a significantly more even playing field. And geez, Mike, stop typing so hard. So just be cognizant of that. I think this is great because it's going to get more people thinking about how they want to approach the Eternal format or like starting to buy up new collections. It's probably certainly going to help influence the card market, especially as new GPs get announced for it. But those are just my thoughts when you're looking at the Eternal format. I'd be interested. Mike's done a ton of work. Paul has also been doing the yearbooks. This also means that we should really ramp up doing the yearbooks because now suddenly it's certainly a more official format.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to hear as we kind of close out here. I've kind of given my thoughts on the 2 ways to approach Eternal or what my thoughts are about this announcement are. I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts as well. I'm going to go through the chat while you guys talk.
Paul, would you like to go first? Because I'm probably going to just go off on a tangent to end the night, probably.
Sure. So Josh is right. I know. I know what's going on in this format, at least a little bit, because we've been playing it at our locals here in Michigan on Saturdays. ccgprime.com. Shout out. The best thing about this is, in my head, now stores can actually say like we're gonna run Wanderer tournaments. Here's a ban list. It's official. There are promos for it. Like that is really going to help people get into the game, especially if you have like just a ton of product. That's exactly what Dan at TCG Prime has been doing, and it's been doing really well. Our locals has now swollen to 15 people, which is just as big as my other locals, Odyssey Games, which is a sponsor of the channel. And it's only because like people are able to play whatever deck they want. So this is just huge, but I also think this is really important because it tells us that the company is actually listening to us, and the company is actually taking our feedback into consideration, even if they're not like as communicative as we would prefer. They are still saying like, that's what you want. Okay, we'll figure that out. We will give you more promos, which means it'll be just even easier for collectors to collect this stuff and to get into the game.
On that note about the communication, right? Like the fact of, we've said before on the channel that some critics of the channel have said that we're just shills. We're unwilling to say bad things about the company, and that's wrong.
And they're right.
And that's wrong. We have been public about the fact of when we don't like decisions, or we wish the company would do more, or we don't quite agree on things. But what we have said in the span of the past year is that the Force of Will company has made more good decisions than bad for more of the game in general. Like they still make mistakes, but they have been quick to fix, and that they have, where they can, not on everything. It's not a perfect track record, but no company is perfect. And I think this is just another step in the another step on the path, right? Of people want Wanderer. It's a really good way to get people into the game. The cards are still very plentiful and very fun. Let's push that more. Let's recognize it more and push it more. Now you could be a naysayer.
I was gonna say, I also think this says like they've actually sat down and thought through like how are we going to do this in a way that works. I know we had a couple of Wanderer format tournaments here in the United States, and they were okay, but they didn't get like a huge reception.
Except for New Hampshire.
I think New Hampshire really good? I don't remember
Rhode
that
Island,
one.
sorry, not New Hampshire.
Yeah,
that one was big.
Rhode Island was
Great.
Providence was actually the event that got me playing Wanderer more competitively and more seriously. Like it was that good.
Nice.
I remember playing against Jeremy for the first time forever at that tournament. It was Great.
I slept at an airport overnight. That was a fun weekend.
Yeah,
That was
I
how
drove.
That was how Travis Tran.
Oh.
That was how Travis Tran and I became friends. We camped out at an airport.
Oh, I
together.
love Travis. Oh,
There you go.
Yeah,
baby.
I will say though, one
Yeah,
thing.
so
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's gonna be more stable. More it's gonna be better, more intentionally supported. And other, I mean, like the fact that we just get more promos and there's gonna be more prize support and invites around this is saying a lot.
Yeah. The other thing too is you could certainly be a naysayer and be like, oh, well, it's 2 years too late. Okay. Cool. Enjoy your negativity. We'll be over here enjoying the thing.
2 years too late because the company finally found the password to get into the page on the website that shows the Wanderer ban list. They finally figured it out, and that's great. And I'm very happy about it because, okay, can I start ranting now?
The floor is yours to close the night out.
Doug, I'm so excited. I love Wanderer. I love Eternal formats. I love being able to play cards that I'm playing for years. I love being able to throw a TGW Valentina on the board, shove 14 Seven Kings out of my extra deck, and go ham on it. Honestly, I live for this kind of shit. I live for Wanderer. I live for the Eternal formats. I live for playing everything. I love banning cards. I love cards just getting axed. Anybody who says Sherry should come back, I hope you know you're wrong. She's going to be banned forever. You can't fix Sherry. She's inherently flawed. I hope that they ban like 5 different chant runes. No. Jeremy, it's my time. You had your time to talk.
That's fair, but I still have to take care of you. I still have to take care of you, so you still need to breathe.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, I'm just very excited. I'm just so unbelievably excited. We've seen so much support recently that just like supports older archetypes. Tigris Pearl Shines, not Tigris, Eldorado, being a panda, getting gems. That should have been the sign, but it wasn't a sign because I was like, oh, I'm gonna touch Wanderer, but they did. They touched Wanderer. They touched Wanderer. They touched me.
I remember talking to Mike. I remember talking to Mike about the card and being like, "Cool, look at the pandas," and he was like, "No, I'm not going to support Wanderer." And me sitting back here, being like, knowing this announcement was coming, just being like, "Mike,
you back?
Why would I talk to you?"
Because I was talking to the EU guys about joining together forces between Conqueror and Wanderer, and I wanted, because their list was looking like the list that Conqueror wanted to be, with some, modifications here and there, whatever. But anyway, it was, the biggest thing is just like, this is so huge. This is massive. I can go to people, play Wanderer at locals, and be like, hey, here's where you go on the company official website to see what cards are banned and what you can play. You can play anything from here to here. If you want to play broken shit, go play Origin. You'll play Valhalla. It's fine. It's whatever. It's great. I'm having a great time. But the biggest thing in the entire world is the fact that we are getting such good things right now. We're getting a format that you can play your old cards. We have somebody at locals that plays only old cards. She plays like a werewolf deck with Red Riding Hood, and she can play it because it's officially company recognized, and she doesn't feel like some ostracized dweeb like I do. So it's great, and you can play all of this, and it's going to continue getting support. The only things I hope that happen, I know that they're going to be keeping a bunch of kind of degenerate things in. Your lab is still a thing. Alice Palace is a thing that's back. You can still FTK with Wolfgang. Oops, Cthulhu still do the Cthulhu thing. But you know what? It's okay. I just hope that something there gets banned. I hope that the Guinevere Machine Lab combo eventually takes a hit. I hope that Alice Palace stops being allowed to be existing, but without Umer, you can't do it easily on turn 1 like you always could, because Umer used to be, a thing, and now it's not. So Frank's Umer.
And I will say this. This Wednesday at Locals, because of this announcement, Paul and I are recording a Wanderer feature match for next week. In honor of this announcement, we got Fox, because y'all can't make me not play Fox in Wanderer.
Are you putting
format.
Dracula in that fox deck?
Hell yeah, I am. You see this little fox boy? You see this little fox boy right there? He's been waiting.
Strong.
He has been waiting. And I believe Paul initially told me he was going to build Lumia, but I believe he's building Wolfgang 1 Cthulhu's, not FTK variant, which I am very excited to play again.
That don't exist.
Is Rhea and New Valhalla still going to be playable in New Frontiers after November? Rhea Cluster and New Frontiers are not currently playable in New Frontiers.
They have not been playable the past 2 years. But you know where you can play them?
Wanderer!
Wanderer! Yes! It's a thing! I can't wait. I hope that, listen, I just hope they take some advice from me. I just want Mikage and Rhea banned. I just want
we'll get there.
Shub
but
banned.
Here's the thing.
I want again.
Now we can start having tournaments. Now we can start having more ways to gather data.
Ooh.
Now we can start more officially recognized and starting on that advocacy path, right? So it's good to know that it's there. We're ending on a high note. Overall, this week was like a 9 out of 10 for Force of Will, I think. For both
This week's an 11 out of 10.
New players.
Wanderer support from the company on the website. It's official. Yeah. I don't care. That's the EU list. I love the EU list. Dennis has my entire heart in his palms. I love that man. I'm going to tell him where he is wrong all the time because I'm going to break this format wide open. Y'all get ready for that. I'm excited.
With that, it's time for our giveaway. Right?
Yes.
So
free things for you all because Wanderer's back.
This is yes, exactly. This is a giveaway of a free entry into the online GP for this weekend from Carta Magica. What you have to tell me is in the chat right now. You have to tell me what ruler you are most excited to play in Wanderer. I'm gonna give you until my clock will say 10 p.m. So you have quite a few minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Invite 8 people for a private cube GP. I tell you what, man. Next time we do the FOW Festival, I'm just gonna make the top 8 players play cube for the win of the FOW Festival. So day 1, New Frontiers. Day 2, top 8 is cube. I'm about this life. That's the way we're gonna go. So put your answers in the chat here. And I will get you your free entry into the event this weekend.
Jeremy, do I count?
Are you playing in the event this weekend?
I might actually be able to. I've got a bachelor party on the Friday and a wedding on the Sunday.
But are you?
Yes.
All right, okay. Got it.
Brandon Bruno coming through with the correct choice.
We don't. Yeah, Brandon with the Kaguya Tears of the Moon. I love that one.
Josh coming after my heart with the Imul pick. Oh
yeah. Imul, man.
Double tap Imul. Let's go.
Yeah, that was almost the deck. That was almost the deck that I was going to
So many mana dorks.
Yeah, so many mana dorks.
You have turn 1 Law of Silence in that deck. Let's go.
But Law is banned?
No, Dance of Spirits isn't.
Dance of Spirits isn't banned. And we do have we have white mana dorks now.
We have a white mana dork with Barrier. You cannot interact. You untap her when your opponent goes into combat. They can't touch Flute.
Untouchable flutes. Double taps.
Beautiful.
We are going to be streaming this weekend, by the way. It'll be just me on commentary for that event. So we're looking forward to that. And huge thanks to Carta Magica for hosting. It'll be fun. It is just an unpaid invite, but I do recommend it's $25 and it includes your shipping for your promos, which you get. It's the Sylvia package. So it's Sylvia, Rhea, Athena, Shakti, Mariabella, and Rhea. It's $25 for all 6. But you have to play at least 3 rounds. You can't participate and drop. You have to play at least 3 rounds to get your tournament, your stuff there. Okay, I think I got a
Mono Red Vaha Blast from Chronomage. Hell yeah, brother! You don't have to play with banned cards. Just play the stone that gives you Dragon Swiftness.
Full well, I'm playing Violet again. Let's see. Excited for me to commentate Victoria Rebhold's victory this weekend. Hey,
damn,
go for it, Victoria.
Good.
Absolutely, get that invite. Okay.
As long as you're cosplaying Beatrice again, that's all that matters.
And our free entry goes to. Oh, it's not. I promise this was not because they gave the only answer that I truly appreciate. But he sleeps with super excited for Fox Lilius Petal wins a free entry into the event this weekend.
That's German playing favorite.
It's not. It's what random came up. I'm sorry.
If you're gonna impress a shill, you gotta shill.
Shill's gonna shill. The shills have eyes.
So, Mario, the website, it says all cards printed in Rhea and New Valhalla are legal in New Frontiers. That is old text. The very definition of New Frontiers, it is that the most 2 recent clusters are legally playable. That is the floor rules of the constructed format. And currently the two most recent clusters are Saga Cluster and Alice Origins Cluster. So you even though the website there is saying that, the official floor rules of New Frontiers disproves that. Just so the heads up. There you go. It is an online
That's what happens when you don't update your website.
That is true. That is what happens when you don't update your website. But maybe we're gonna get a website upside soon. I mean, clearly they're keeping their eye on the website for something. Maybe they're working on it more. Fingers crossed. So he sleeps. I want you to go ahead and send me an email at rulerschoolcontent@gmail.com. Yeah, this is a free entry in the online tournament. Go ahead and send me an email to rulerschoolcontent@gmail.com. Let me know that you won the free entry, and I will get your name and everything. Give me your name and your Discord ID so that I can pass that on to the players over at Carta Magica so that they know to sign you up. And also go check out the link in the description to go get signed up so that you make sure you participate in that this weekend. So, for Minnesota, I'm not cosplaying as anyone from Minnesota. Nope, I got too much stuff to bring, and I'm bringing Paul with me, so I'll be cosplaying as. I'll be cosplaying as.
Back. Be Lilius again.
Oh my gosh. Do I have to bust out the tails? I can't bring the tails to Minnesota. I still have them. You want to pay for me to ship them? You pay for me to ship them, and I'll cosplay Lilius Petal in Minnesota.
I got $5.
That's not gonna be enough. It's gonna be easily like $400 to ship them each way.
You need at least 3 times that much.
Mario, the reason the website says that is because the website has that section of the website hasn't been updated for a very long time. There's nothing more I can tell you about that. Too short to cosplay Violet. Cosplay Tiny Violet, Victoria. Duh. Just cosplay Tiny Violet. Piece of cake. If Tori gets to finals in cosplay, I better put my cosplay on for commentary. I'm not taking orders from you. Anywhoozle, that's gonna be it for us for tonight. Hope you guys had a great time. We had a great time talking with you all. Very excited about what the future holds for this. If you like what we did, consider clicking that subscribe button and leaving comments and all that stuff, as well as clicking that join button down below to support us on the channel financially and help us get to more events and be able to do more fun things. And until next time, this is myself, DMO73, and I've been joined as always by Paul Reisman. And
get yourself somebody.
I clicked the button too soon. Paul, say that again, please.
I said, find yourself somebody who talks about you the way Mike talks about Wanderer.
That's a good way. And Mike Rance.
Life advice.
Send me the cards that you love from Wanderer, and I will build you a deck based around that card. I don't care how bad it is. I'll make it happen.
There's your open invitation. And until next time, this is all of us saying, for real this time, class dismissed.
Class